How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Welcome back to The Case For with Chris Cox, the pretend procedural that is set not in the court of last resort, but rather the court of the Disney World Resort. This is the podcast where theme park expert Len Testa and mind reader Chris Cox will regularly debate on some of the more trivial aspects of vacationing in Orlando. What makes visiting here a complete joy or an absolute misery? I'm the less than honorable James Robespierre Hill, and I'll be presiding over today's proceedings. And after hearing Chris and Len's arguments, I will then render my verdict. Now, all verdicts are final until, of course, they're not, which means that we'd love to have you, the listener, also weigh in with your thoughts on these not-so-weighty matters.
Your Honour, can we have a quick word?
Certainly, gentlemen.
So, Mr. Testa and I, once again, couldn't help but notice yet another new design scheme that you're putting here into the courtroom.
Yeah, the big white tent, the classic English countryside, the individual baking stations, not to mention the complete lack of air conditioning.
Yeah, you do understand that the Great British Bake Off, or as sometimes it's called the Great British Baking Show, is someone else's property, right? And if the folks at the BBC ever found out that you so thoroughly duplicated their set of the long-running hit television series...
Look at that. He's even set up the showstopper tables right towards the front of the tent.
Then they're never gonna stop suing you. They will sue you forever and ever. You'll spend the rest of your adult life scraping burnt bits of sponge cake off of baking sheets.
Not to worry, gentlemen. I mean, given that on today's The Case For, you two will be discussing the merits of character meals at the Disney World Resort. Well, I thought it might be appropriate to transform the courtroom into a space where food is often judged very, very harshly. Plus, I'm not going to lie, I was hoping that if I erected the tent, Mary Berry might drop by.
Is she supposed to respond to the tent like it's the bat signal or something?
You're going to tell him that Mary Berry has been off the Great British Bake Off since 2016 when the show moved to Channel 4 from the BBC. And in fact, Prue Leaf has gone now as well, and it's going to be Nigella who's going to tell him this.
I saw that. I don't have the heart to break it to him, or really the interest, to be honest.
Also, quick side note, Your Honour, if anyone doesn't know what I look like, have a quick Google. You can find me by typing the name Chris Cox into the internet, and then Google Sue Perkins, the original host of the Great British Bake Off, and you'll find that we are almost identical humans.
That is true. Wow. Okay, cool. All right. Well,
yeah.
All right. So, why don't we get today's proceedings underway? So, character meals, gentlemen. What are our thoughts?
As an owner of tiny humans, I do like a character meal because it does two things at once. It feeds me. Actually, does three things at once. It feeds me. It keeps them occupied / feeds them at the same time, and it means we don't have to wait in line for normal character meet and greets. So I feel like it's a great way to kind of tick a few things off the schedule all at once. In essence, it is dinner and a show.
I'm 100% with you on this, and frankly, I'm convinced, Chris, that some character greetings no longer appear in Lightning Lane, so that parents are more likely to pick character meals to get those autographs and photos. Because to your point, you've got to eat anyway. This is a chance to see the characters. And also, if you're going at any time of the year that's warm in Disney World, which is basically February through December, it's a chance to sit in some air conditioning as well. So yes, 100% think that not only do parents think that that's a good value proposition, but Disney knows that parents think that's a good value proposition.
It's also a really good use of a Disney dining plan and a great way to make you go, oh yeah, probably the dining plan is worth it. And for us in particular, speaking for fellow UKians, again, not a word, but with our jet lag delights, I absolutely love sticking in like an 11:30 a.m. character breakfast. Like normally, first day, Magic Kingdom, rope drop, early entry, get on some rides, then we head to Ohana's for an 11:30, 11:45 a.m. breakfast, which is sort of brunch at that point. It's kind of our lunch. It's a great opportunity right there, and it saves time, money, and we see Stitch. What more could you want?
No, it's a fantastic idea. And you brought up the dining plan, which I think is a really good sort of corner or edge case for character meals, because when Disney offers free dining, I think one of the sweet spots for getting the most out of that specific deal is to stay at the cheapest deluxe resort you can. So you get the sit down, the classic version of the dining plan, but then use those credits for character meals, because otherwise they're more expensive than you would normally pay for them. So kids, character meals, cheapest deluxe resort, and free dining plan, I think is the sweet spot for that. The one thing I would say, though, Disney offers a number of character meals. Picking the good ones is probably harder than most people anticipate.
Yeah, this is a thing we've noticed where we pick based on character and who we know the girls want to see, which means that we also don't get to pick based on food. So a lot of the time, I know, for example, I've always wanted to do brunch at Topolino's. Everyone says one of the best. The best they can be. But the girls want to see the princesses. They want to see Stitch. They're not there, so we're going to go to the restaurants where the food isn't as good, but the characters they want to see are there.
Right. That's the downside. Topolino's breakfast with the Fab Five characters is the highest rated character meal that Disney runs. The Four Seasons Orlando also has one at Ravello that is really highly rated too. But Topolino at the Riviera and the Four Seasons are the top two. To your point, Chris, when you're going into the parks to Akershus, it's not a very highly rated restaurant. According to the unofficial guide and touring plans readers, it gets an 86% thumbs up. That's a solid B anywhere you go. But judged against other character meals, it's almost at the bottom. So yeah, to your point, you're really going for the characters, not for the specific food that you want.
Well, that said, that brown cheese is quite interesting. Have you tried that? Like the caramelly cheese they do there?
No, I haven't. Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Helen likes it. And we both really enjoyed watching the girls' faces after they tried it and really didn't like it. So that and princesses, I'm a happy boy. Yeah,
there you go. I can see that. And you do get the princess out of the way. Speaking of princesses, one of the things that I was looking at for this show was, if you have the choice of standing in line for a character greeting or paying for a character meal and seeing the same characters, which one makes the most sense, right? And here's what I did. I looked at the ratings for the character meal, and I looked at the ratings for meeting the princesses to see which one is which. And it turns out that for meeting the characters, if you're standing in an actual line in the parks, preschoolers and grade schoolers give every single one of the character greetings 4.5 stars, at least out of 5. But the character meals are not rated as high, right? So if you wanted to meet the Disney princesses, you'll actually be more satisfied waiting in line to meet the characters than paying for Akershus Royal Banquet Hall. Which again, if you're doing that for breakfast, it means you're not rope dropping attractions, and there's a whole set of issues around that, right?
Yeah, you do kill time by having to sit down rather than where you could be going on rides. And, it's interesting you say that, because we love the fact that we tick off those characters and we get some photos of them, but they're the photos that we never, we print out some Disney photos and put them in frames. I never really use the ones from the dining experiences, because it's always like a photo of some people eating behind them and stuff. It's not quite the same setup.
Someone's got their mouth open, about to shove 3 entire pancakes into their mouth, and you're like, why is, well, this is what you need AI for. You need to Photoshop these out. Yeah.
What's intriguing about the actual, for example, the summer house at Epcot with Anna and Elsa. What's fascinating about when you you go to that, the photos, the staff there, I mean, between the professional lighting setup, between the fact that the folks who run this are, this is their job. And so they don't capture just the one photo of you with the characters. I want to say, aren't there like 5 specific photos they're supposed to give you out of every character encounter? I mean,
from the ones where I look at that we've got, I feel like they always capture like the first greeting, the hug, some pose shots, the goodbye. You get like the whole sequence of them all.
Yeah, it's like a mini relationship documentary.
Whereas, I mean, the interesting thing is when you go character dining, I mean, again, you may get lousy, photos ultimately, but I have to tell you that one of my favorite character encounters ever is it was myself and Michelle and Alice when she was a baby we were having breakfast in, back then it was King Stephen's Banquet Hall, and one of the cast members who played Perla the mouse, literally walked over to the table, and Alice was young enough; she was in a high chair, and we're feeding her baby food, and Perla actually took the jar of baby food and the spoon out of my hand and proceeded to feed Alice, who just was like, "Oh no, absolutely, I will eat with the large mouse hands, places in my mouth." And it's just that you get these wonderful moments with the characters dining. But again, when it comes to the photos, the guy behind you shoveling the entire ladle of lasagna into their mouth, it does take away from that family memory.
Yeah, I have a great photo of Hannah with Tigger at Crystal Palace, and it's the same thing. Like her face is like absolute joy in meeting Tigger. So I don't remember what I paid for, that meal. I don't remember how long it took. I don't remember what I ate, but that's still on my camera roll from like 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's so sweet. I think it's interesting. I think back, we did quite a lot of character dining last time, and Aurora is obsessed with Stitch. And actually, Ohana was a little bit of a disappointment because sort of Stitch came by, they did a quick hello, they did a quick photo, and then they moved on before she sort of even got a chance to interact with him because it's such a large space. But I think about the one at Grand Floridian. What's that restaurant called?
1900 Park Fair.
Yes, and actually there they got a lot more time sort of stopping chats with Aladdin and with Tiana, where they kind of felt it was a smaller room. They got particularly Mirabelle was excellent in there. They really got good interaction and engagement rather than it felt like, well, you've got your photo, we've got 1,400 other tables to get through.
I will say the thing that's consistent across all of the character meals and the character greetings is the cast members who are these characters are uniformly great. Like when I was at 1900 Park Fair, the cast member playing Mirabelle was excellent in that role. I mean, like super engaged, very happy to see everyone. I don't know how they get that level of energy, that early in the morning and sustain it. But they are uniformly good. So the good thing is if you go with character meals or you go with character greetings, whatever you pay, however long it takes to wait in line, your experience is going to be excellent either way. But Chris, I wanted to piggyback off something you said about seeing Stitch, because there are some character meals where you can 2 character meals with the same characters. So I think, for example, Chef Mickey's has the Fab Five, but also Garden Grill does. And I think Cape May has Minnie as well, and Hollywood and Vine might too. Yeah,
and Ohana's had Mickey as well. He was there, and Pluto, I think.
Right. So if you want to see the Fab Five characters, you do have a number of choices in which restaurant you want to go to. And that also gives you a little bit of flexibility around the kind of food you're going to eat and also the timing for those. But I would say that that's where picking the restaurant is more useful, because the Garden Grill is definitely higher rated than 1900 Park Fair or Chef Mickey's, right?
Yeah, the food is definitely better there.
Yeah,
there's a good little sort of wiggle within the dining plan is we used the dining plan for the kind of like a late lunch / early dinner at I think Hollywood and Vine with Minnie Mouse in studios, and we also got the VIP seating for Fantasmic thrown in as part of that, and that kind of really offset the fact that the food in that one really wasn't the best food by any stretch of the imagination. But the interactions with the characters were good, and getting that fast pass for the VIP seating on Fantasmic made it really worth its value.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's a great additional benefit. So if you're in Hollywood Studios, you want to meet some characters and you need to eat, you could do that with the Fantasmic dining package and get basically a 3-for-1 there. Oh, that's a great idea, Chris.
The only thing to be aware of on it is that if you want to eat sort of during main dinner times, the Fantasmic Dining Plus doesn't run during that time. But I think we ate at like 3:30 or 4, something like that. And then
but you're coming from the UK. Your internal clock is like completely off anyway.
Yeah, we're fine. And a couple of snacks before hitting up Fantasmic to keep us going, all happy.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
This Easter, skip the ordinary and whip up something golden with melty, creamy Velveeta cheese. From scalloped potatoes to rich mac and cheese, Velveeta turns every bite into a crowd-pleasing celebration, bringing the extra to the ordinary, transforming simple sides into lip-smacking, satisfying moments. So go on, make it melt, make it craveable, make it indulgent. Velveeta, respect the drip. Visit Velveeta.com/Easter for some recipe inspiration.
Let's talk really quick about costs for character meals. So for something like at Cinderella's Royal Table, lunch and dinner are going to be the most expensive. You're looking at around $90 for an adult and around $50 to $55 for kids. It's cheaper at the Crystal Palace, but the Magic Kingdom Cinderella Royal Table is definitely the most expensive there. It's also cheaper over at Epcot and at Hollywood Studios. I think for Hollywood and Vine, Chris, lunch and dinner is like $60-some for adults and 40-something for kids. That's kind of in that range where you could say, if I'm not purchasing Lightning Lane multipass, I'm not doing, I don't want to stand in line for character greetings at another park, and I'm getting Fantasmic. Like, you could see that that's worthwhile. I could see that.
Yeah. And if you want to convince yourself as well, you can sort of go like, all right, well, I can avoid paying for, say, a single pass for Rise the Resistance or something and use the money that I would have spent on that, I can use doing the lunch or the breakfast with the characters, and then the time that I've saved by not waiting in line to see those characters, I can use that time to wait in line for Rise of the Resistance. So you can do the mental arithmetic to make yourself go like, oh yeah, makes sense.
Chris, is there any character meal experience that you've done that you would not do again?
I think I would do them all again because the characters. We're not going there for the food. If we want to go for a great meal, we'll go somewhere else. We're going there so we get to tick off the characters. Interestingly, we've never done Cinderella's Royal Table. I'd quite like to, but I've always felt like Magic Kingdom's a park where I'm trying to maximize my time in the park because there's so much to do. We do that. I think probably if we had to not do another one again, I'd probably not do Ohana's again. Partly because I'm allergic to pineapple, so some of the best food I couldn't eat. But also it just felt like it was, and maybe it's because we did it on our first morning, but that room felt like a lot. And when they did the little sort of parade around it, Aurora was excited to see Stitch, and then he walked past her, and then she was a bit sad till he came back later. And all of those ones, I feel like that's probably one where we would just wait in line to see Stitch in the future rather than go for breakfast again.
I agree. I mean, I've done all of the character meals in Walt Disney World, and I like them all. I could see my way, I could definitely convince myself to go back and do them again. The two that I would have the hardest time with, number one, Ohana. Not for, the character greetings. Like, I've always had enough time with the characters, but for me, that specific meal, because it's so popular, to your point, Chris, I'm so rushed, especially at dinner. Did I tell you guys about the time where we actually used a stopwatch to time how fast the food comes?
No. Wow. Okay.
So we got an email one time from someone who was like, you really need to bring a stopwatch and time this, because they were bringing out the food so quickly that I was having trouble. It was like a competitive eating contest. So we did. And here, I don't remember the exact numbers, but basically it was like this. We sat down, within 2 minutes, we had our first course, literally within 2 minutes, within 120 seconds. Right. And then a new course came every 6 or 7 minutes until we were done. And there were families around us that had eaten all of the food. So the appetizers, the starter, I think, is like bread. Then they bring in like the salads and stuff. Then they bring in the apps. Then they bring in the mains. They were done eating with their check signed and walking out the door in 40 minutes.
Oh, God.
And we could have been done in 45 if we didn't want to ask for seconds and stuff like that. But imagine eating that much food at dinner in 40 minutes.
Oof.
It's a lot. And they're trying to get people in and out.
Then straight to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly. Right, let's go on. Two things you should do. Number one, go on a roller coaster. Or number two, put on a bathing suit and go to the pool. Because those are the things you want to do after that. The other one that I really didn't like, and it wasn't the characters and it wasn't the service. I don't think the food at Hollywood and Vine is good enough to justify the cost for lunch and dinner. For breakfast, it's fine. Because I can eat my weight in Mickey waffles. I just don't see the food quality at Hollywood and Vine being there, like for me.
I agree with you there. And I think partly, the food quality there's not the greatest. It's not terrible, but I think also the way that's set up, it's like a cafeteria at school. And it just, everything, the whole vibe of that place and the kind of the metal chairs, it makes me feel like I'm in a school cafeteria. It doesn't feel very special.
Yeah, so that's it. I think it's the vibes there. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's be honest, that setup, when this park opened in '89 was never supposed to be character dining. It's just, that's, the other thing is that so few of these places that, for example, the Crystal Palace, character dining was an afterthought. And then that became the business model for that, that restaurant at the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, they've definitely tried to shoehorn these into restaurants that were around before character greetings. But I think the new places, like Topolino, was definitely designed with the idea that characters would be roaming around the tables because you feel it's more spacious. They've got different areas to go to. It's segmented well, and they know how they're going to get in and out. So I think character dining there was definitely planned as they were designing those restaurants.
I really like the character dining experience at a resort. I think there should be more of those. I think they are great reasons to go visit other resorts, great reasons to stay at a resort as well. And just, a nice little extra where I think if you have character dining when you're in the theme park, there's always a bit of you that's gone, I'm spending all this money to be in this theme park and we're spending it sat here dining. And yes, there's all the lovely things, you meet the characters and you're ticking that off. But when it's in a resort, I think it just feels a more relaxed experience.
Chris, that's a good point, because if you think about the value resorts, which is where most people stay, there is no sit-down dining at the value resorts. They could add them, and those character greetings would be immensely popular. So why wouldn't they do that? Because they would cannibalize stuff from the parks?
Or maybe it would cannibalize the moderate and deluxe resorts, which do have the character dining experiences.
Right. Oh, that's it right there. Yeah, you should be CEO, Chris. That's it. Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out is that what's interesting now is to watch what the Disney company is doing in regards to, really leaning into trying to make character dining at the resorts special. I don't know if you saw the announcement for the 25th anniversary of California Adventure, but did you see what they're doing at the Storyteller at the Grand Californian?
I saw it, but I forgot. What is it?
They're bringing in Humphrey the Bear. They've actually...
there's a rare character, Chris.
There you go.
Well, that's it. There are no rare characters really at character dining. I'd definitely go to more character dining if I knew I was going to meet a rarity.
But on the other hand, do you really want to be sitting there, eating, your scrambled eggs and have the Horned King come up to the table? It's like...
That's it. It should be like like they do at Princess Fairy Tale Hall. It's Cinderella and a visiting princess, right? Or they used to do it that way. It should be a character meal. It's the characters from 100 Acre Woods and then some random character like from the Black Cauldron or something like that, where people are like, and you are, and this is about
Googling who is this?
Exactly. Or just like one random dwarf, but no others. Yeah, fantastic. That's a great idea.
Hey, that's the system, right? You can collect all 7 dwarfs if you dine in 7 different character dining
restaurants.
Exactly.
There you go. Redinability. Yes, that's a new word.
Okay, there we go. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate your take on character dining, and again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm headed out to Southern California this month to visit Alice for her birthday, and I'm definitely planning on going to the Storyteller to go dine with Humphrey.
Hold on a second, Your Honour. I definitely want to see that photo, by the way. But the Clerk of the Courts has just handed me a little note, and it would seem that Paul Hollywood is right outside.
Oh, dear.
More to the point, Mr. Hollywood wishes to discuss the delicate matter of copyright infringement with you, and he appears to have some sort of letter with the word cease and desist on it.
Oh, dear.
You know the nice thing about tents, Your Honor? They're easy to fold and then run away with.
Excellent suggestion, Mr. Testa. A tactical retreat to the lovely English countryside. A capital idea. And I will do that in a moment.
Tally-ho.
There we go. But before I go, I should acknowledge that another session of these hallowed halls, the court of the Disney World Resort, has now come to a close. My thanks to our two would-be barristers, theme park expert Len Testa and master illusionist Chris Cox, who are arguing the pros and cons of character meals at the Disney parks today. Just a reminder, folks, a full verdict won't be rendered until you, the listener, finally weigh in. In fact, coming up shortly, we plan on posting an episode that does just that, where we share some of your thoughts about the topics we have discussed recently on the case for. That's what our next show is going to be. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, that is. So get involved, get in touch with your thoughts. You can comment to us on social medias. There's always a post on the Touring Plan forums about it as well.
Terrific.
You can also see Paul Hollywood outside brandishing a baguette like a sword, so you better hurry up, Jim.
Okay, it's agreed on. We will share what you folks say, and I got to get out of this tent. But until the next time, the case for is now closed. Thanks again for listening, and this court will be back in session soon.